Let's go. All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining me today for our masterclass, Advanced Money Management for Entrepreneurs. I'm Debbie Sasson, your hostess today on the masterclass, and I'm also a bit of a money nerd because I love talking about money and spreadsheets, investments, retirement plans. It gets me excited, but I know from my more than 30 years as a financial services professional that it's not that way for everybody. And in fact, I'm going to open with a cute little story that happened yesterday. For those of you who are just getting to know me, I live in Israel. I know I have a great American accent because I grew up in Los Angeles, but Israel has been my home for almost 30 years. I also grew up near the ocean like Darlene. And anyway, yesterday in one of my local Facebook groups, one of the women entrepreneurs asked, "What is the funniest thing on your current to-do list?" So my to-do list includes financial plans and investment reviews for some of my clients, of course, preparing this webinar. But one of the women who posted in the group is an artisan soap maker, and her list included unmolding and cutting the dog shampoo. So I think that was really cute and really funny, and there's just no way that I can compete with that because money is just so darn boring, right? You know, not too many people get like really excited and hysterical and laughing about their money and their spreadsheets and their profit and loss statements. In fact, most people will, or many people will avoid dealing with money. They'll procrastinate. They'll push it off as long as they can. It's always finding its way to the bottom of our to-do lists because there is always something that is more interesting to do than dealing with our money, kind of like unmolding the dog shampoo. So I really, thank you very much for taking the time, bringing dealing with your money to the top of your to-do list today. And I'm really excited to be here because, after all, I am the money nerd. I hope that you walk away with some tips and some tools about how you can better manage your money for both your business and your life. Before we get started, I'm just going to give you a little bit of a background about me. As I said, I live in Israel today, but I grew up in Los Angeles, where from a young age I was an entrepreneur. I was one of those kids with the proverbial lemonade stand. And many, many years ago, 1973 and 1974, for those of you who might be as advanced in age as I am, there was an oil crisis. And the cars would line up for hours to fill up with gas early in the morning. And so being the little entrepreneurial spirit that I am, I went to the supermarket, I bought a bunch of donuts, I got a thermos and made some hot coffee, and I put these things in a box on the back of my bicycle, and I, kind of rode up and down the line of cars waiting at 6:30 in the morning, and I was selling all the drivers coffee and donuts. So that's where I got my start in the entrepreneurial world. But later on after college, I worked on Wall Street in New York and in London. And when I moved to Israel, I was working for the central bank as both a portfolio manager and as an economist. 10 years ago, I transitioned out of the corporate financial area into personal financial planning. And today, I help people to take charge of their money, to make more money, save and invest more money, and build wealth so that they can lead that life of choice and financial freedom, which is what, really I think everybody's hoping to do. So thanks again for joining me. Before we jump into the material, if you have any questions during the masterclass, feel free to pop them into the chat box. If I can answer them during the course of the class, I will. If not, I will try to circle back at the end and answer the questions. And number two, if you like what you learned today, and if it makes sense to you, and you're ready to go deeper and become a better leader of your money, both your business and your personal money, then at the end of the class, I will be sharing with you a special offer. Okay, so let's start with a quote from Chris Bogan. And Chris is a business consultant, and he has authored many, many books. And his quote says that business is about exchanging money for value. No matter how you slice it, if you're trying to build a business and not just a hobby, money is and always will be part of it. And the first thing I want to say is that if you are building a business as a hobby, that is totally okay. I don't have a problem with that, as long as you're very clear and you know where you stand. And I sort of think of my mother, may she, her memory be blessed. When she was in her 50s and her 60s, she had a business raising purebred German Shepherds. And for her, that was, love, it was time, it was using something that was very important to her, to also serve other people. There was a lot of animal therapy in what she was doing because she'd had a traumatic childhood and upbringing. So if your business is a hobby, that's great. Be clear on where you are and what you want to accomplish with your business. But if you want to be making, a profit, if you want to be getting your life wants and needs taken care of, and really growing a bigger life for yourself, and maybe giving charity and donations and taking the income that you have and supporting your family and others, and you have a larger vision for yourself, then it's very important that you focus on the money. We can't just be so focused on all the other parts of our business, because otherwise the chances are that your business can implode. Many small businesses fail in the first 5 years because they're just not financially sound and they don't have the wherewithal to continue. So Chris continues, okay, that not knowing about money does not make you noble. It makes you waste money, which eats up more time. And I really love the word noble that Chris uses, especially when I'm speaking with women. Somehow women adopt this belief, take on this belief that we can't make money at what we're doing. We're serving other people and we're helping other people. And how could we charge money for what we do? But there is a concept of noble poverty. And we want to make sure that we're not going to get sucked into the idea that we're not allowed to charge for what we do, because the first people that we need to serve is ourselves and our family. It's great to want to be, and I think what I want to add is this is very prevalent among women who are working, let's say, the health and wellness professions, right? There's a feeling that they're not allowed to charge for the work they do. But don't forget, when you are earning money and bringing it into your family, you're taking care of yourself and you're taking care of the people that are closest to you. And it's very hard to take your energy and serve other people if you're always going outside of yourself. Eventually, most people will end up burning out. There are very few people in the world who are like, Mother Teresa, who can keep giving and giving and giving without charging, or recharging their own batteries. So make sure, that you are focusing on your money and how you can use it. And I also love what Chris says here, is that when you don't know what's going on with your money, you waste money, which also eats up more time. And that's also a critical point, because money is something that comes and goes. We can make money and we can lose money, and we can make more money and we can have a different business idea, or we could go and really, have an employed position somewhere else if for some reason we need to get in some fast cash. But time is something that we will never, ever be able to get back, right? We're all on this earth for a certain amount of time, and we don't even know at the outset how much time that is. So we want to make sure that we are not wasting this finite resource called time. So let's jump in now, and I've got 10 steps today we're going to go over. I will, I don't want to be here until 3 o'clock in my afternoon, which is about 4 hours from now. I'm going to go through them pretty quickly, but the idea is that we have a better understanding of what we need to do to take care of ourselves in business and in life. So the first step is clarifying for yourself, how much money do you need? And since the class is focusing today on entrepreneurs, I do understand that when we start out on our entrepreneurial journey, we're just sort of like throwing paint at the wall and seeing where it lands. And we're in what I like to call the scrappy startup phase of our business. And we don't really know. We're going out, we're trying something, we're bringing some money in, we might be scrambling again to bring some money in, and just sort of figuring it out what sticks. But once we get into the second stage of our business, and again, the class is for the more advanced money management for the entrepreneurs, we really need to focus on how are we going to cover our needs? Because again, we're in business to make money to support our lifestyles. So what I recommend is that you start by looking at 3 different financial plans for your family. And this is, again, a point that many entrepreneurs miss, is that, yeah, we're in business to make money, and we just sort of have this goal, oh yeah, I want to have a 6-figure business. That's what we see especially touted around the internet. I want a 6-figure business or a 7-figure business. But hey, is that going to be able to take care of the needs of your family? And each one of us is different. And in fact, some of us might not even need 6 figures. Your lifestyle might be a simpler lifestyle, or the place that you live in the world might be a lower cost place in the world. So rather than getting caught up in all of the hype and all of the smoke and mirrors that's going on in the larger world, focus on your little world and be very discerning and even introspective about what your needs are. And we have our basic needs, which include obviously the food and the housing, the transportation, health care that we need to take care of ourselves. And when I said introspective, I really mean that, because sometimes we have choices. You might think, for example, if you are living in a house and you have a mortgage, that you are locked into what you're paying. But 2 people that I know and that I care about, this year sold their homes and downsized, and in that way they were able to reduce their basic financial needs. So that's number 1, is get very clear. And if you have debt, for example, credit card debt or student loans, or you've taken bank loans, that also has to be part of your basic financial plan, because you're going to need to reverse engineer your business so that you get your basic financial needs covered. And once you have clarity on what those are, move over and create a comfortable financial plan for your family. So that might include dining out, once a week, once a month, whatever it is. Cable or Netflix, are those things that belong on your basic financial plan? Or when you're just starting out on your entrepreneurial journey, you really cut back on everything, and then when you get a little bit more comfortable, you can add cable back into your equation. So think about, vacations. If you have children, think about extracurricular activities for the kids. Do they need one extracurricular activity, or can you get rid of all the extracurriculars and then build them back into your financial plan when you're living that more comfortable lifestyle? And then, similar to moving from basic to comfortable, then also build for yourselves what is that aspirational lifestyle that you desire. And that's what you desire today. As you grow and develop and your business develops, you might have bigger goals or bigger dreams. And alternatively, you might actually say, you know what, I really thought that I wanted to live a certain lifestyle, and it just doesn't grab me anymore. I would just rather, live in a small little house out on a farm somewhere where my needs are very minimal. And that's okay. We just want to have a direction, because when you have something that you're aiming for with your business, if you know how much money you need to bring in today, that's going to point you in the right direction. You'll be heading north instead of heading southeast or something like that with your business. So I encourage you to spend the time. And now, as we approach the end of the year and people are really talking about and hopefully sitting down and thinking about their directions for 2018, this is a great exercise that you can do, is to create your 3 different sort of lifestyle plans. Okay. As you create your plans, none of us can forget that wonderful thing called taxes. I saw that Jen Lang is on the class with us today, and she is in the enviable position of living in a country where she doesn't have to pay income taxes, but most of us do have to pay income taxes. So let's say that you engineer your business so that you need to bring in, let's say, $50,000, okay, for argument's sake. And you're in a country or in a tax situation where you have to pay 30% taxes on your income. Well, that means your business has to generate income from you of over $70,000. And that's really important to understand, because so many people get caught out on that taxes thing. And what happens is when they end up owing taxes, and this could be on their personal taxes and or on their business taxes, they end up scrambling because they don't know how they're going to pay their tax obligation. So as you are figuring out your different financial plans, make sure that you are calculating what your taxes are going to cost you. And I just want to remind you that the 3 different plans are your personal plans. So, the business plan needs to be created as well, but don't forget that to calculate in income taxes on your personal income when you're creating your 3 different lifestyles. And if you need help, by the way, with tax professionals, then speak with a bookkeeper or an accountant, someone who can help you also minimize your tax obligation. Maybe there are deductions or things that you can have, but you want to be able to reverse engineer your business to cover all your needs, and it makes financial sense to pay for a consultation with a professional so that you don't end up getting caught out of behind the 8 ball, or having to rob your savings account or go into debt or use a credit card. And I've seen people also who have sucked money out of their retirement accounts. So not only have they had to pay the income tax from a different source because it wasn't available to them in their personal bank account, but they also had a tax penalty because they pulled money out of their retirement accounts before they were of retirement age. So don't forget that critical thing called taxes that none of us love, but I forgot who said it. I think it was Mark Twain who said the only certainties in life are death and taxes. I should really know who said that, right? Okay. The next step number 3, is once you know what your goal is and what you're aiming for, now you have to make a plan. And now we're talking about business plan. You have to craft a business plan that is going to work for you. And depending where you are on the growth cycle of your business, it's very possible that in the first few years of your business, you won't be able to cover all of your personal financial needs, right? So you have to figure out how you are going to close the gap between what you need and what your business can provide for you. So I strongly encourage you to, again, sit down and look at your numbers. Like let's say that you need that $70,000 that we talked about before, so that you'll have $50,000 after personal income taxes. Most people don't make $70,000 the first or even the second year in business. There is a timeline. There's a trajectory for businesses and for businesses growing. So where is that money going to come from? And there are different places. If you have been let go, made redundant, fired from a job, it could be that you have severance pay. Perhaps you have an inheritance or savings, or you're going to run a Kickstarter campaign, or you're going to take a bank loan. Figure it out ahead of time so that you know where you can take your money from. Maybe your family's going to help you out. Whatever it is, understand that everybody starts from zero, and it's okay to not have your business, or for your business to not be able to satisfy all of your personal needs. It can even be 3 to 5 years, because it's a step-by-step process. It takes time. Sorry, I just had some water there. It takes time for you to build your business. And some people have to work part-time or decide to work part-time because it's so comforting to know that you have that steady income that's going to cover your basic costs while you're building your business. And the one area of getting started that I sort of hesitate to talk about, but I will, and that's using credit card debt to finance your business. And I know that there are people who have successfully used credit card debt to pay for their business expenses, whether it was hiring a coach or buying supplies and inventory, publishing a book. I know people, and I know that it can work, but since I'm that sort of, boring money nerd, and I know that the interest rates on credit cards are astronomical. If you don't have a watertight business plan, you can sink financially before your business is up and running and enabling you to swim. So be very, very cautious of taking on credit card debt, because it's just one of these vicious cycles that sucks you in over and over and over again. Yeah, Tash says that she feels uncomfortable, but people do it, and I don't know, I see people, and certainly on the internet and on Facebook, you can't believe necessarily everything that you read, but people do claim that they've taken on credit card debt, they've hired a coach or whatever, and they've made their money back 10 times over, and it's paid for the credit card debt, and everything was fine. I also know one of my colleagues who published a book last year, and she did it by using a 0% credit card, and for her it worked out fine. But again, you have to really, really know what you're doing so that you're not going to end up servicing debt servicing debt, paying the interest costs from now until the next 50 years, and it's a cycle that you never get out of. Okay, so once you've crafted your business plan, you know how you're going to cover that gap between when you're just starting out and when, and I think the common wisdom is like 3 to 5 years. Your business has to be a going concern before you're able to cover all of your needs. So it's a huge, huge question. What are you going to do during that period of time? I mean, it could be that you have a spouse or a partner, and your partner's income is going to be able to pay for all of the financial needs for your family. But again, know how that's going to happen. All right, and then we're going to move on to the next step, which is, we're getting into the more nitty-gritty details now, is when you start with your business, and even if you're in the middle of it, right? Again, advanced money management, separate your personal bank account from your business bank account. And I know people have said to me, no, I can keep track of it, it's fine, I know what's going on. But what I see over and over again is that when it all becomes interlinked and woven together, there's no separation between church and state, there's no separation between personal and business finances. We end up robbing from Peter to pay Paul, right? All of a sudden you have to pay your quarterly corporate taxes and you don't have money, and so you go into taking money out of your food budget, or you delay making payments to the school for your kids because all of a sudden you have to pay a different obligation that you have for your business. If you have your personal life in one account and your business life in your other account, you have to make sure that each one is a financially stable and soluble going concern. So Ilana is asking, if your income comes into one account and you have to transfer money to a personal account to pay your mortgage, aren't you laying out extra bank fees? Yes, Ilana, you will definitely be paying additional bank fees. However, I strongly believe that the clarity that you get from having a separation between your personal and your business bank accounts is money well spent. We have to be very cognizant about where we're going to save money and what we're going to save money on. And there's a great book that was just released, and I can't wait to get it and read it, by a professor, Dan Ariely, who is an expert in psychology of money and economics and business. And the book is called Dollars and Cents, cents being spelled S-E-N-S-E. And some of the examples that Dan Ariely brings in his book are, let's say that you need to fill up your car and there are 2 gas stations, and the one that's further away is where the gas is cheaper. So you drive your car further away to save a few cents filling up with gas, but in the meantime, you've lost time, you have wear and tear in the car, and who knows, after you've driven those few extra miles, if you actually ended up saving money. but we're so wired to think, oh, it's a savings if I drive, an extra 2 kilometers to that gas station, so I'm going to go over there. And we're wired to think, okay, I'm going to have to pay a few more shekels to transfer money from my business account to my personal account. How can I do that? I'm going to have everything come into one account. But we have to be, rather than being penny smart, pound foolish, penny wise, pound foolish, we have to look at the bigger picture and realize that if I have clarity of what's going on in my business, and I'm going to talk about like metrics for our business and measuring things, and if I can see all of my business expenses in one place and the money coming in and the money going out, and it's not mushed together with my personal income and my personal expenses, that clarity saves me time, it saves me energy, I'm less stressed out, and I'm going to make sure that my business is running as a separate going operation. And I'm going to make sure that my home is running as a separate going operation. If I can't afford to send my kids to 3 or 4 different extracurricular activities, or I can't afford to buy a better cut of meat, I will make sure that my personal spending is contained inside that nice little glass jar that we have up there on the screen. So I think you gain a lot more than you lose by separating them. Okay, so let's move on now to our next slide. Once you have taken on this idea of separating your personal and business accounts, you have to get into the routine and get into the habit of paying yourself first. And that means when money comes into your business, first of all, you want to set aside money to reinvest in your business. So that's paying yourself first in a business sense, right? You don't want to spend all of your money on your Facebook ads and on your, your other marketing campaign and on your computer and your website and anything else. You want to save money to grow your business, but also as important, or maybe more importantly, again, the business is here to support your lifestyle. So make sure that for any bit of money that's coming into your business, you are always paying some money into your personal bank account. And in the beginning, it might be, $100 a month or $200 a month. It might be a very, very small amount. But as we are growing our businesses, we have to act like the CEO, the owner of our business. Right? And if you've ever worked for somebody else, right, they always made sure to pay their employees. I mean, maybe the business folded and that's why you had to leave, because it wasn't financially solvent anymore. But if you are the owner of a business, you have to make sure to pay your employees, and you are your number one employee. So many small business owners pay everybody else, right? They pay their VA, they pay their webmaster, they pay for their MailChimp accounts and whatever else they're doing. And by the end of the month, there is nothing left for themselves. And you just get into this vicious cycle of always running after your tail and never taking care of yourself. But that's what we're in business for. Go back to the very first slide. We're here to make a profit. We're here to take care of ourselves, and we're not here to run ourselves ragged. So get into a habit of paying yourself a monthly salary every single month in your business. Okay, next step, which is, I believe, step number 6, is to make a rainy day plan for your business, because there are always unexpected events that are going to crop up. It could be that you have a dip in income because, let's say now it's the holidays, we're getting close to the holidays. So if you have a business model where you are seeing clients one-on-one, and if people aren't going to be showing up for the last 2 weeks of December, your income is going to be going down, then you want to make sure that you can cover your salary. Maybe there's unexpected taxes. You planned for your taxes because you took to heart what I was talking about here, but your business grew so much that you have additional taxes that you need to pay this year. Yay! Or maybe your computer crashes and you need to replace it. Or maybe there is a Black Friday sale and there's some special promotion or some special offer that you want to take advantage of. For the good, for the bad, life is never an even keel, and we have to make sure that we plan for the rainy day when things come around and we need to take care of them. So take care of that for your business, build your rainy day fund, build your emergency fund, whatever you want to call it. And once you have taken money out of your rainy day fund, what you need to make sure to do is consistently to rebuild it. Today you take out $50 from your rainy day fund. You have to make sure that next month you put that $50 back and maybe add a little bit of extra so that you're up to, $55 or $60 or something like that. Eventually, as you grow your business, that sort of cushion or slush fund or whatever you want to call it should really build to be covering much, much larger expenses. Let's see, Kate adds that she's been doing this consistently since the start of the year, and it feels great to pay herself first. Yay, I'm so glad to hear that. Wonderful. That is good news. Okay, so create your rainy day plan and make sure that you have money set on the side, because otherwise, again, when something unexpected happens, what are the two ways that you're going to pay for it? You're going to go into debt. Could be overdraft in your bank. It could be credit card debt. Or again, like I said before, I've seen people drain the money out of their retirement accounts. And that is so painful because there are tax penalties for doing that. And that means when you get to like 60, 70, 80 years old, there's going to be a lot less in your retirement account than you were hoping that you could use to take you through for the rest of your years. Okay, step number 7 is to measure everything in your business. Now, if you're like me and you're a numbers geek, you don't mind measuring things because you like spreadsheets and you like seeing where things going and what's going up and what's going down and how you can move the needle and improve things. But for you and your business, learn to love your numbers, learn to figure out what are the things that you need to be tracking for your business. And it's not just income and it's not just sales, but you need to also drill down a little bit and know what your key performance indicators are so that you can track them and you can measure them and you know that, do you need to cancel a certain expenditure or do you need to boost a certain expenditure? You need to understand what is making sense for your business. And I'll give you a little bit of an example from my business. I have an ebook that I advertise in the print media, Jewish magazines, and usually the magazines are in New York and the magazines are in the UK, a little bit in Israel, but I put ads in the print magazine and I know what my costs are for that, and I can also track the leads and the business that I've had from that ebook over the last few years. And I'm very grateful that the income that I've had is more than covered both the cost of the ads and the cost that I put into creating that ebook. But on the other hand, for these webinars that I've been running, master classes that I've been running for the last few months, we did some Facebook ads, and the return on my investment for the Facebook ads was pretty miserable. But I also boosted some different Facebook posts, and the return on the investment from my Facebook posts was much better. So again, you need to measure key indicators for your business so that you can see what's going on, learn from the information, and then you can pivot or shift things as necessary. So figure out what your business needs and make sure that you're going to measure that. Okay, next point number 8, and this is a big issue for entrepreneurs, and that is managing fluctuating income. And for those of us who once upon a time had paid salaried positions, it was really nice and comforting to see that income check coming into the mail. Not the mail, sorry, coming into our bank account every single month. But once you're in business for yourself, things tend to be a little bit more volatile, and we have to get ready for that. So number 1 is, if you go back a few slides and you separate your business and your personal bank accounts, so then when your business income slows down, you're going to have to figure out how to manage that within your business rather than going and borrowing money from your personal account. And number 2, you'll have to figure out what your business plan is so that you can deal with fluctuating income. I said before, if you're let's say in a coaching business working one-on-one with clients and your business drops off for the last 2 weeks of December, you need to have some money in a reserve fund so that you can pay yourself in December, because probably on your personal side, your expenses are going to go up, or it might be going up for the holidays. If you are in a product-based business and people are buying a lot of gifts at this time of year, you might actually find that your income goes up during the holiday season, but it's going to drop off during January. So you need to be tracking your income so you know what's the seasonality in your business and making sure that in your very flush months, you are putting money aside to save for those months when your income is down. And it's really, really a good idea to look at your business, especially if you have very, very wide fluctuations in your income. And it could be your expenses also, because many times, let's say taxes are paid quarterly or every other month, and you want to make sure that in the months where you're not paying taxes, you're not spending all of that income and you're not taking on some new project, but that you're putting money aside for those months that you know that you're going to have to make an extra payment to the tax authorities. So look at your business on a yearly basis and learn to manage the fluctuations in when money comes in and money goes out, so that you're not caught up and you're not hitting the credit card when you are short of cash. And I will say also something is that if you want to take time off from your business, obviously vacation is a time off that we can understand, but sometimes you just need time off to sort of let go and be a little bit more strategic, and you want to plan for the next stages of your business and your business growth, and you need things to sort of percolate inside you. And if you're always running, and I'm really talking to myself at the moment because this is where I always am, is I'm always running into the next thing. But if you want to slow down and reduce the work that you're doing so that you can plan the next stage of growth, then again, you need some cushion, you need some savings that's going to tide you over while you are getting into the next phase of business. It's almost like building a new business again, except you might have some trickle of cash flow that's going to be supporting you behind that. Okay, step number 9. And that is investing your money for your future. And this is like a crossover between business planning and personal financial planning. Obviously, as a personal financial planner, I love planning for the future and I love dealing with investments. What I often hear from business owners is that they're just expecting that their business is going to grow and grow and grow, and their business is what's going to take care of them for the next 100 years or whatever it is, or they're going to have to work until they're 100 years old. And that's really not such a great financial plan, expecting to work in your business. You have no idea what your health is going to be like. If your parents are still alive, you don't know if your parents are going to need you to help them out at some point in your life, or your children are going to need your help. I have married kids, and I have 4 grandchildren and another grandchild on the way. So I like to take time off to help my girls when they give birth. If you want to have a life outside of your business, then it makes 100% solid financial sense to take some of that money that you're bringing in and investing it for the future. I know that people in the sort of entrepreneurial world think in terms of passive income and passive cash flows that they can use to support themselves, whether it's an evergreen course or a book they're selling or something like that. Well, think of your investments as another form of passive income or passive wealth building. Because if you're taking money from your personal income and you're putting it aside in investments, those investments are going to grow and grow and grow behind the scenes. They're going to involve very, very little input from you, but over the long term, 10, 20, 30, 40 years, that money grows passively, and it's there in the future to support you so that you don't have to get out of your rocking chair at 85 and come up with some new business idea, or you don't have to keep, working and working in your business. I know that many of us might know Louise Hay and know that she worked, I think, into her 90s, right before she passed away about a month or so ago. but none of us know what the future holds in terms of our health, and what we will or won't be able to manage when we're older. So take care of yourselves. In the best way that we can take care of ourselves both today and in the future is to manage our money properly. Okay, and I know that especially among women, there's resistance, there's overwhelm, there's hesitation when it comes to investing our money because we just aren't familiar with that, and we don't have a lot of role models in the sort of investing world. It has been the domain of the men for so long. The men were the ones who might be, talking in the club or the bar together, or if you have a dinner party, the women sort of excuse themselves into the kitchen after the dinner party to talk about food and recipes and kids and diapers, and the men stay in the living room, I don't know, drinking beer, smoking cigars, watching television, whatever they're doing, talking about the stock markets. So we also just don't have a history of dealing with our investments. But now is the time for us as women to take control of our financial future and grow and build our wealth so that we can really lead that beautiful life of choice and financial freedom and financial stability that we all are, looking for as we're building our own businesses. Okay, the last point is, and I have to say that I was completely resistant to this whole area of money mindset blocks because I am a corporate financial professional before I transitioned into personal finance. And I thought that all you needed to do was have a little bit of financial literacy and financial knowledge, and everybody understands how to deal with money, and then life is all sorted out and hunky-dory. But what I really have discovered over the last 10 years of working in the personal financial space is that people, and in particular women, have a lot of blocks to dealing with their money. Whether it is, again, like we spoke about before, it's not noble to be charging for our services, or people who have money are nasty and they're mean and they're evil. It's not my area of expertise as a woman. I don't have to deal with it. I'm going to leave that to the men, or I just don't know how, and I'm overwhelmed. There are so many layers of money blocks that we have in both growing our businesses and also taking care of our personal finances, that it's something that we each need to take care of and work on and just dig away and excavate, really finding out what's going on deep inside of us so that we can uncover and unleash those blocks that we have to dealing with money, to just even like, oh, Debbie, I'm not a financial nerd like you are. How am I going to build spreadsheets and deal with the finances for my business? And hey, when we're in business for ourselves, if we really, really want to love ourselves and take care of ourselves in the best possible way, we have to start learning it. None of us came out of the womb knowing how to deal with money, speak a foreign language, ride a bicycle, paint pictures, write a story, even talk. And we managed to learn all of those different skills and tools. And now is the time for us to work away and dissolve our money blocks so that we can, again, build our businesses that can take care of ourselves for the long, long time into the future. Okay, so let's just sum up everything that we talked about in the 10 different steps that we talked about today for managing your money better, both in your personal life and in your business life, because again, the topic of our masterclass today was the business finances. And that is, if you want to become the leader of your business and your personal finances, and if you want to craft your ideal life of choice and financial freedom, you really do need to take charge of your money, know the cash flows for your business, make a plan for how it's going to all work out. And yeah, we need that rainy day fund because things never work out according to plan. We're always needing to, take a little bit of a detour along the way. And we need to grow our wealth for the future. And yes, we need to work on our money blocks so that we know that it's okay and it's good. And that is really the best way that we can take care of ourselves. And here's one of my favorite sayings that I say frequently, that taking care of your money is exquisite self-care. We know as women how to take care of ourselves with a massage or a manicure in so many different ways. Taking care of our money is at least, or if not more important than taking care of ourselves in those other ways, because the manicure will last for a week or so, the massage will make you feel relaxed for a couple of hours, but taking care of your money will take care of you for the next 50 years of your life. So let's see if there are any questions in the chat box. You love that, great. So as I said in the beginning of our webinar, that is, if you like what you're here to, what you heard today, I'm going to share with you the next stage of how you can go deeper into taking care of your money and building that beautiful life that we're all hoping to have, setting our goals professionally and setting our goals in terms of our business. And that is my flagship program, Smart Women Build Wealth. And it is a 6-month financial empowerment course for women. And what you get when you join the course is that you get 12 online classes, and this is the second time I'm running the program, and I'm even adding in a bonus call this time so that we can talk about planning and holiday spending in December. Okay, the class comes with worksheets and easy actionable exercises. We have a dedicated Facebook community for Smart Women Build Wealth where women can talk with each other, they can ask questions, get a lot of help from me. Some of the women that were in the class the last time around even, were posting their pension accounts, and I was there so that I could look, looked over the pension accounts, and I can show you what your pension is investing in if it's something that's totally unfamiliar to you. I could look at the fees on your pension account. So I am there, and I am very involved in the Facebook group and helping each and every woman who's in the program to build herself a much stronger, solid, and empowered financial future. Okay, we're going to work on a mindset because it's really important. That's the beginning. About a third of the course is working on our mindset and busting through the limiting beliefs that we have around money, becoming much more confident, developing stronger money habits like paying ourselves first, putting our money into regular savings accounts, that financial jargon that really trips many of us up when it comes to dealing with our future and investments and stuff like that, and just reading our financial statements. And the goal is really to have you have much more empowered meetings with your financial advisor, because sometimes you just show up at your bank or by your, if you have a retirement officer or something that you're dealing with, and they can just talk almost right through you. And if you have more understanding and confidence with what's going on, then you can come to the table, come to the meeting, and ask solid, straightforward questions and understand the information that's coming back at you, so it doesn't just blow through you like a blue streak. Okay. In addition, we're going to create more savings and investments. And in the last class, the women that were in the last group created like thousands of dollars of savings as a group. I think, probably more than $5,000 of savings and investments were created as a group. Paying down debt, which is really important, and knowing your numbers so that you will be able to live a life of choice that's going to support your financially sustainable future. So let me tell you, here's some testimonials. We have Jen Lang on the line, who was with us in the course last time, and she's going to be joining again next time. And she's just saying here she feels much more comfortable looking at her numbers. She's also more curious about looking into her financial story. Again, this is the limiting beliefs and the mindset that we have that that sometimes block us from moving forward and taking charge. Another woman, Louise Hare, who was in the group, also loved the questions and the money stories, and she developed greater skills and knowledge. Louise is the one that she put her pension statements into the group, and we really looked into those and drilled down, and she was able to go back to her financial advisor and change up what she was doing with her pension, because what she had was just not growing. It was just staying pretty much stagnant for like the last 5-10 years, something like that. So she's changed her investment path so that she's going to be growing her money for the future rather than just staying stuck for the long term. Okay, so Smart Women Build Wealth is $895 US. You can pay that in one payment. If you want a payment plan, that's also available, but it comes out a little bit more. It's $175 in a month for 6 months. And the program starts next week on Wednesday, pretty much the same time as we were gathered together today, actually a drop earlier. And if you have any questions, that is what we have to talk about today. I think David is going to put the link to Smart Women Build Wealth into the chat box. And I am going to unblock my video. And if you have any questions, so feel free to put them into the chat box, and I will be happy to answer your questions. Great, thank you for putting the link into the chat box, David. If anybody has any questions about the program, Smart Women Build Wealth, or yes, Tash has a question. If you have any questions about the master class today, yeah, go ahead. Question time. Hello, Tash, you have a question? Okay, another side effect is that I felt more confident about asking for money for my services, and that was huge. Right? Yeah, that's great. That Jennifer, thank you for bringing that up, because there was another woman who was in the class last time, Tanya Wilson, and she really felt much more confident about asking for money and receiving money. That it was okay to receive money, and she earned so much more money within the first 2 or 3 months of joining Smart Women Build Wealth. It was fascinating actually to see that transformation happen. Beth is asking, do you understand the Australian market and the way of life? So in order to take care of your finances, there are some universal themes and universal topics. I don't know how specific your question is, Beth. Certainly, there are people, for example, like Tash, who have been in the program Smart Women Build Wealth, and I have gotten knowledge about the Australian financial system that I didn't have, let's say, a year ago. But what was I going to say? Again, I don't need to be an expert on what a 401k is in the United States, or what a superannuation is in Australia, or what the RRSP is in Canada. I know how to read financial statements, so I can figure out what the costs are. But again, we are building strong foundations so that you can lead a better financial life. So Tash is saying, if you do your numbers and you work out, you're not bringing in enough consistently to cover business and personal goals. Oh, sorry, this is whatever. So anyway, so Beth, I hope that is I hope that answers your question, that we're focusing on the basics, the skills, the knowledge, and the money mindset that will enable you to take them and, again, speak with your financial advisor, look over your accounts to know what's going on. I've worked with people all over the world, whether it was US dollars, sterling, euros, shekels, dinars. I have a background in dealing in many different countries and currencies. If there's something specific that you want to ask, then go ahead, Beth, and maybe we can drill down again. Okay. So Tash is asking, if you do your numbers and you work out, you're not bringing in enough consistently to cover business and personal goals. Do you think it's better to aim for more income or aim for reducing expenses first? I don't think it needs to be an either or. Reduce your expenses. One of my mentors in the money space calls it maximum lockdown. When you look at your personal expenses and you're like, we are just not doing A, B, C, D, and E. We are not buying new clothes this year. We're not eating organic food. We are not going on a ski holiday or whatever it is. You can also sell things. I have a client years ago who sold his gun collection. Whatever it takes, if you are trying to build your business, you can build it from both sides. build, you build your income. And again, it depends if you have a partner who can support you, or if you can take, a personal loan from your parents. And sometimes it's a little bit uncomfortable to borrow money from family members, so use that option reservedly. But I don't think that it is an either or. The most important step to take is to build your plan so that you understand what's going on, because otherwise you just end up fighting fires all day. Or it's like a pipe, the pipe like springs a leak in one side, and you stick your finger in on one side, and then there's another leak in another side, and you're sticking your finger in somewhere else, and you're just running after plugging leaks all the time. So you need to work on it from all sides. I think Denise Duffield Thomas says, right, throw everything you've got at it. It doesn't have to be one or the other. Okay. Any other questions? I think Gail wanted me to back up, and let's see if I can back up to the summary slides, how I can do this. There's my thank you slide. Okay. Is that the summary slide that you were looking for, Yael? If there was a different slide, you can let me know. Okay, but that is that the slide that you want, Yael? Let me know if you want to see something else. Okay, great. Okay, so if anybody has any other questions, I will stay on the line a little bit longer. And if not, I thank you very, very much for tuning into the masterclass today. I am Debbie Sasson, financial planner and money coach, helping you to really craft that life of financial choice and financial freedom, and helping you to build a healthy and confident relationship with your wealth. You're very welcome. Thank you, Jen, for tuning in. Thank you, Tash, for tuning in. And everybody else, Kate and Ilana, if she's still around, and Beth, and if I forgot you, please forgive me. Darlene, thanks so much. Candy's here. Thank you, Candy, for showing up. Nice to see you here. You're welcome, Yael. Thanks for joining us. Thank you very much, Kate. I really appreciate the feedback. Thank you very much. Thank you, Jacine, for being here.